Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. I love this. I love seeing you grow your business because you are evolving as a brand. And a brand is unique. It shouldn't be copycat. It should be you turning up for how you are. And I thought, what can we talk about tonight? And a lot of my one-on-one clients in my gold membership they've worked through some emotional issues, which is why they might come to me. They hit some goals, and then we get to the tail end where they're evolving. And if you're healing, you naturally want to do something with the good things that are happening for you. You want to pay it forward. So that's what I call, when I talk about building a brand, if you've overcome something, you've got to share that good news. That's what a brand means for me. It's not this perception of, oh, I've got to hook someone in to buy something because I'm broke. This is a really backwards way of looking at things. It's not pyramid. It's not the rich at the top and me being the slave or the worker. It's me teaching somebody else what I have walked through. So whatever that is for you, allow that to help you find your why again. So every week I start this particular session with reminding you, what is your why? What is your why? My why is that I assist people to raise their vibrational frequency. Now, I was actually having a chat with Sia this week. Sia's business building with me, and we're all new at this, right? We've done other businesses, and if we've done other businesses, of course we can do this, but a lot of it's pivot and turn, like how do I implement the amazing techniques that I've learned in my old careers and morph them into this and reinvent myself? What should I do? So we were talking about this. Sometimes in the evolution of our journey, we speak over people's heads. We cut straight to the juicy, really difficult stuff about, the goals being this big. What we need to do is break it down into chunk-sized pieces and meet people where they're at, using a language that they understand. And if you're clever, you can actually tailor this for the people that you meet daily. So it's terminologies, it's how you would communicate. It was last week we talked about connection being everything, especially if you're working online. People forget what you say, but they always remember how you made them feel. So my goal for my why, and I'd love to have you drop in the chat tonight, reminding me of what your why is to raise somebody's frequency. So if somebody's up here, I'm talking the woo-woo, I've got them doing the astral stuff, I've got them switching everything in their life to thinking spiritually because they're remembering that they're a light being, but not everyone's ready for that. Right? So I've got to dumb it down a bit to somebody that I'm speaking to about, let's get toxic free. How about that? Because all of it leads us on the same scale, but I'm meeting them where they're at. And I was saying to Sarah, it was like Christ giving the loaves and the fish, the loaves and the fishes. Like nobody that's hungry or nobody that's sick or nobody that's poor is going to hear you pitching a business goal. Like you might be talking that get rich, let's get on the gravy train. We've got uncapped income here, and that person's struggling. Their nervous system's shot. They can't pay their electricity bill, and all they hear is blah, blah, blah. So drop me a 1 in the comments if this resonates in that. Tonight we're going to learn how to speak fluently, uniquely, in our special way, and we're going to reach our goal clients in the way that we communicate. So quite a few of my one-on-one gold membership clients that I'm working with to help them evolve, and that does lead into business eventually once you get into the healing journey. You're going to turn up and you're wanting to be authentic. You're going to want to educate others what you've traversed through. And their fear I have noticed, thank you for the ones. The biggest fear that I have noticed is that they don't want to talk online. They don't know what to say. They get nervous. Drop me a comment in the chats if this is one of your fears that we need to overcome tonight. Is speaking publicly, especially online, is that one of your fears? And is that why we're chatting about this tonight? What do you think? I'm not seeing the comments land yet, but if you are afraid to turn up and speak your truth online, let's dig to the bottom of that tonight. Yes, great. Thank you for your honesty. I appreciate it. Now, Before we got recording, you saw me jumping up and down. It's all about energy. Energetic connection is about how you turn up online. I didn't put too much effort into my appearance tonight. I've just driven 2 hours. I've had a stop off on the way, but I did work on myself energetically. I blasted the music that made me feel calm, happy, made my nervous system feel clear. I did my own training earlier. I had a little zone out time. I had some refreshments. I got my energy moving because I've been sitting a lot today. I jumped up and down and then I switched the camera on. I hope this lands because we need to feel grounded, feet on the floor. I don't have shoes on. Exhale longer than you inhale. So I'm recharging. I'm giving my body and my cells and my blood some oxygen. I'm dropping my shoulders, releasing the stresses of the day. Because if your nervous system is calm, your message will land. Who can hear me at that today? And who's tried to jump online? Who's tried to jump online and do a live and then halfway hung up because they got a little bit stressed about it? Me. I'm here to teach you what I've gone through so that you can connect and learn by my mistakes, because that's how we learn, right? When our children, if you have children, start to walk, we don't criticize them or punish them when they fall over. We just encourage them to get up again. So I'm here like Mama Bear going, come on, guys, you tried it, you feel you failed, or you're not getting results, or you're not getting the likes that we talked about with attraction marketing. I'm not the best at cold marketing myself. I prefer to create something online that is maybe controversial or appealing or encouraging or educational and have people come to me, give me a like, engage with a comment. That they will be the ones that I will first reach out to connect. And that seems to work for me. That seems to grow my business. Most of my coaching work and my sound healing work is attracted online. And this filters through into our affiliates like Melaleuca. So a regulated body equals a magnetic voice. And your voice is unique. Now, the first way we create is by speaking something. So if you're saying to yourself out loud, even if you're thinking it, I can't, expect those can't results. I want you to switch it up into, let's give this my best shot. Let's give this a go. Don't bother with the really, really big goals. You know, sometimes we compare ourselves with others that are smashing it, you know, these CEO types and these ones going straight to the top of the mountain. We forget that it's the daily habits and the small things, the small interaction and small connections that we have with people on a daily basis that actually grow our business. So if you set a really small goal to meet 2 people a day, to tell them the amazing things that you're into, do you think that would gain some traction? And is that doable as a goal for you? What do you think? Too hard basket? I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So what do we do when we're online? Well, this is a trick that I have. And if you haven't watched the video yet on how to set up your lighting and how to have your eye level at the camera and all of that, we do have a training on that. So we're not talking about that today, but it goes hand in hand. Because if I can't connect with your eyes, I can't see your face well, or the camera's out of focus, or the wind's blowing and I can't hear you speaking, I'm going to scroll on. You've got to connect with that person in the first 3 seconds. So here's my tip. Pick one soul that you love to help. Just one. And that's the person that you're imagining that you're talking to. Now, last week's training, it was, I think it was Australia Day. Everyone forgot. I put it in the chat, but everyone's off doing family things, and I really respect that. So I had one beautiful soul come on for when I did this recording. And you know what? I spoke directly to her, and I love her. So that was a great recording energetically, because I was speaking directly to somebody that I really loved and that I really wanted to help. Did she implement the trainings? Yes. Is she scaling? Yes. That feels good for me. So pick your one soul, and you can change this avatar as you grow, but it's one soul that you speak to. So every time you make a reel, every time you do a little post, every time you do a live, don't speak to everybody. Speak to that one soul that you love helping, because if you love helping that person, I promise you, you will attract more people that are similar. And that's great. And so if you outgrow that client, upscale and redo that. I've done that many times in my business. That's easy, right? So that's the first tip that I'm going to give you. And I want you to imagine them nodding, not scrolling. You know, when you're on a training and you just can feel that people aren't giving you their attention, you intuitively know that they've got the camera off, or they're talking to somebody else in the room, or they're scrolling on to the next person because you haven't caught their attention. I want you to visualize them nodding and connecting back with you. That's really important. That then kills the waffle. You know what I mean by waffle, right? I am a professional waffler. Allow your message to be short, succinct, to the point, and leave them wanting for more. Because if you start rambling, I want you to pause and ask, what does my avatar client need to hear next? What does my avatar client need to hear next? Right, this is connection, right? And I want you, we did, I think it was 2 weeks ago, a training on the interruption process. To interrupt means you grasp somebody's attention. Yeah, you blast into the room and you get them mid-thought. So I've given you a few little starting points here. And if you go and watch people's lives tonight, you'll notice what I'm saying to be true. So many people start off with the waffle. They start off with the, hi everyone, I'm just jumping on. They make apologies for looking bad, or all the excuses, or that, you know, that blah, blah, blah. Honestly, if you're really honest with yourself, you've scrolled on. They haven't hit you with the hook that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. So we have a little bit of hook reiteration tonight, because what you need to do is start off strong and finish strong. This is like any movie. Any movie that's a success is going to start off with a storyline, their best hook to hook you in. I've caught your attention, and might be a few boring bits in the middle, and then I'm going to finish with the punch, right? So we need to be this, even if it's a 7-second reel. You've got to hit them with the hook and finish off with the punch, okay? So we do it with little questions that interrupt the thought pattern. And I've just jotted down a few examples for you. No one tells you this about money, and everyone's got money issues, right? Especially at the moment. That's going to capture somebody's attention and they're going to sit with you. It may not be about money for your conversation, but use something that's relatable to your people, your tribe, your story. We're storytelling here. So I did one the other week about weight loss, right? That's been a story for me. It's been a story for lots of my clients, and I'm going to hook them in by sounding like an expert, right? As soon as I hear that no one's going to tell you this, it makes me curious. I think, oh my gosh, she's got some juice that I don't know about. I'm giving them a topic that is relatable, and I'm going to spill something that they need to know. It makes me automatically the expert. Here's another one. This is why you're exhausted, and it's not age. So this is very appropriate for me. I'm very loud and proud about being 59 online, that I'm reverse aging. You can be like me. This is why you're tired. Hell, we're all tired, aren't we? It doesn't matter the age. It's mama life. We are hitting them at the pain point. I'm relatable, and I'm enticing them into the fact that I have a solution, whether it's a 7-second video, a 10-second video, or in half an hour live. They're going to stick with me for something like that if they connect on it. So it's about connection, right? Here's another one. If you're good at everything but rich, listen. And then I could stretch that in. I've caught their attention because everyone wants to get rich. I might be talking about an enriched lifestyle or an enriched wellness topic. Like it needs to just connect, because a lot of words, and I call them spells for reasons. You've got a word that's multifaceted. These are gold in the bank. Use them as little hooks. Don't just jump on without a plan. Cook up a plan first. It doesn't have to be word for word verbatim. You don't need a script, but you do need some points that you want to bring across. You're coming to the meeting prepared, and anything that you're doing online to attract in your business, consider that a business meeting. Yeah. If I turn up at a business meeting and shine, I'm more inclined to walk out with the gig. If I turn up to the business meeting ill prepared, not perky and energetic, not fun, not lovable, I'm probably going to miss that job. And I learned this working freelance. You know, like when you work freelance, and if you're running your own business, you are freelance. You are the energy. How you turn up is how you get the results. So if you're not feeling into it, don't turn up. Or sometimes I've done this, turn up and admit that you're feeling shit, because that's a great role model. You know, I can get up and say, I've had a really rough week. Who's not going to relate to that? But I'm turning up for business. You'll earn some brownie points for that as well. So do it your way. So we'll get to that, Amanda. Thank you for that question. Amazing. What do you do when your mind goes blank? We'll get to that. Recap here. What makes a hook work? Shock, surprise, something they don't expect. 2, relatability. You hit the pain point or the desire. Yeah. Pain point or desire. And how do you know what your viewer are looking for? It's what you have traversed through. Speak to yourself. Yeah. Because the people that you're attracting are you, but they're you a year ago, 10 years ago, 2 months ago. They're aspects of you. So if you can speak to you, talk into what you've overcome. If you're not talking into things that you are actually practicing, it's coming across as inauthentic or fake. Curiosity leaves them wanting more, and emotion, laughter, fear, awe, joy. And Amanda, a great point for if you get brain dead in the middle of a live or something like that. I do it often. I get distracted. I'm like a little butterfly. I just own my shit. I just say, whoopsie, I just lost it then and hone back in. But I'll talk into a few other tips that I have here for you tonight, just to have some points in front of you. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So use short sentences. Short sentences stop people think that you're rambling and waffling. See how I've got a PowerPoint here? It keeps me on track. So if this type of technique helps you, place your camera or your phone in front of your desktop or laptop where you've got a few short notes. This keeps me from rambling. I do this often when I do long lives for more than an hour, because for my type of personality, it's can chat and I get totally off track and I forget to wheel them back in. And I've even forgotten to tell them where to find me. That's another integral point that you need to do. You need to turn up as the business, and people are easily distracted just like you are. So I need to tell them why I've done the live and where to find me when they want to make contact. So long explanations sound like insecurity online. Who would agree with that statement? Long explanations sound like insecurity online. And hey, I'm not judging anyone that waffles a lot online. I am the professional waffler. Yeah, but I'm getting better at it. I'm also getting slightly better at breathing and slowing it down, because when we waffle too much, it's perceived as anxiety. So you can slow yourself down using your breath. Say the thing. Stop. Pause. I paused a minute ago and it felt like an eternity. And in my brain, I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to say next? But if you're in flow state, you can stop and command the room, just like you do with music. You have the crescendo, you build up the energy, and then it's the silence in between the notes that actually, that's where the magic happens. So don't concern yourself that you need to stop for a minute, catch a breath, recalibrate, and start off again. Just be honest. That's endearing, actually. Breathe and then continue. I'll give you an example. In any single relationship, overgiving is perceived as kindness, but it isn't, because we get to the point where we over-deliver and we end up bitter. Drop me a 1 in the comments if you have ever found that to be relatable. You see yourself and your ego's telling you, I'm giving, 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 but I'm not getting anything in return, and then that's not sustainable. Right? It's the same with what you're delivering online. We need to leave the cliffhangers. You know, for every movie, whenever they're planning a movie, it's not just one movie, right? They've got the 1 and then the 2 and the 3, and they stagger it out over a few years. They leave you wanting more. That's called a cliffhanger. So yes, you're giving the juice online, whatever you're the expert at. I'm spilling the juice daily online with tips, tricks, education, wheeling people in, but I've got to leave them wanting for more to come and buy something from me. Otherwise, there's no reciprocal energy, right? I've got to leave them wanting like they want to be with me as their best friend. It's this connection that I am asking for the reciprocation. So even in this little group, I do it all for free, but my reciprocal energy is that you have to try shopping toxic free. And I think that's a really equal exchange, because I'm not forcing anything upon you. I'm showing you my expertise for something that lights me up. I'm helping you grow if you put the sweat in, but the energy exchange is that you give it a go within a business that's reciprocal for me. So it's a win-win, you see. We work together as community. So overgiving, I'm going to repeat this because it's really important when you're talking about educating online, is not necessarily kindness. And that might just be your ego saying, I'm going to give it out all for free. Yeah. Last tip on this page, let silence do some of the work. After the crescendo, we need time to just sit and be, process, catch up, shift the frequency even. And this is integral to any online delivery, So permission to slow down and take your time. It's practice, you see. So we've got a few recaps on the hooks from last week. We've got keep your hook formulas simple, teachable. Who here has practiced the hooks that we talked into last week? Yeah, you've got them bold sitting. You've got to have your hook sitting in the square. When you crop a shape and it's going to different platforms, make your hook fit in the middle of what I would say is the Instagram size of the square. Otherwise, it gets cropped. So I gave you an example of that in the chat group. I gave you an example. So your hook could be something like, no one talks about this, but if you've tried everything and nothing's worked, you're leading them in to stay online with you so the algorithms favor you and find out what the answer is. We all love a secret, right? It's the inner child in us. We're playing here. This isn't a motivation issue. This is a nervous system one. I used to think blah until I realized blah. So you're connecting, you're keeping their attention on the screen. You're wanting them to stay on for at least the 7 seconds so that the algorithm goes, yay, this person has followers. And then it will send it to more like-minded people. The algorithm is not accidental. It works exactly like the law of attraction. So I want to say to you in that for reciprocal energy, if you're not liking things that are similar to what you're delivering, don't expect your people to find you. It's called social media, right? So before you do a live or before you make a reel, get on and do some liking and commenting first. Then those people will see your live. Does that make sense? Yep. So reciprocal energy, I put it out there first, and then the algorithm will invite them in to see what I'm doing. So this is how you will expand your business overnight. Okay, now a lot of people, like I've got a beautiful Vietnamese girl that wants to do lives and things online, and she worries about her accent. She thinks that her English isn't up to scale. You know, there are so many popular people online, and we did speak into earlier that it's not even about being popular, because you could have 20 million followers and only 5 clients out of that pool because you're not connecting. And you could have 500 followers where 2/3 of them are actual paying customers. So it's not about numbers here, it's about connection. But what I've noticed with my clients, they say they make up excuses, and I've done it too. My accent, my age, how I look, or background noise, or, you know, these are the problem solving that we're trying to walk through here, and just be solution focused instead of problem fixated. You're not here to sound polished. You're here to connect. Okay. We don't judge ourselves when we go to a cafe and talk to a friend. We don't think when we're talking to a friend at a cafe, my accent, my inability to pronounce big words, my hair looks weird. No, we just connect. And our true friends love us for that. So that's what we're looking for online as well. It's no different. You're here to sound true. You're here to be relatable. And I want to say to you that wisdom beats trends every day of the week. Now, of course, I did a post tonight. You can use somebody else's voiceover when you're time poor. I did that tonight. I quickly, while I was waiting for you guys, threw up a few photos, used a voiceover. But truthfully, it is your voice that is your frequency, and it is your life experience that is your credibility. So I want you to really get to be vulnerable here, because we can hide between other people that are successful, and we can hide between these trends or, you know, music that's trending. But what I've noticed is that a lot of trending music, they drop off after a time. So get really accustomed to, and then that post is not ever going to go viral. Posts can go viral months after you've made them. So don't be obsessed about how many likes you get. Weave your voice into it. Weave your voice into it. You'll be surprised. I'm noticing this on TikTok. I've got a few videos there that are going viral now that I put up last year. And it is my voice. Maybe I was 1 year ahead of them in the message delivering. Does this make sense? There is no time there. So use your voice to put the energy out there and watch what the universe brings you. Now let's make it practical, because we're scared to turn up online. Even though my first job was speaking on TV as a presenter, I was ad lib. No cuts, no, it wasn't at all like making a movie where you memorize a few lines. It was turn the camera on, do the program, finish. So I got quite used to looking at my big bear laughs and my blusters. You know, if you look at the bloopers clips, they're the funniest ever, and people actually like them the most, right? So I want you to think, if you make a stuff up, don't hang up. Use that as a blooper experience and allow that for people to connect. Allow people to think, oh my gosh, I love her. She makes a mistake like I do, but she keeps doing it, or he keeps doing it. We've got a few guys in this group as well. So look at the camera like it's a human. Yeah, we talked into our training that my camera's at eye level. I'm looking at you with the windows to my soul. It's actually the soul that's connecting, soul to soul. See my lighting? My lighting isn't great tonight. I've got one light source instead of 2, but hey, you know, we've had a big trip today. The light should light up your eyes. Yeah, your light should be at the front of your face. You should be well lit so that the eyes are shining. You've got a little, you know, when you're cheeky, you get a glisten in your eye. Your lighting should be doing that. You're talking to a human, not a lens. And I know that can feel really scary because we don't know who's on the other side. This is where visualization play, the inner child in you. Just visualize someone. When you learn public speaking, they say visualize everybody naked, and it'll make us all equal, right? You're not speaking to the rich or the poor or anyone in between. Automatically, overnight, we're just all equal, and you can have a laugh about it. So Smile slightly when you're making bold points so that you feel like the expert. That disarms people. Even if you're talking something serious, a connection with a little smile is everything. And if you lose your train of thought, all right, let me land this is a great little thing to say. You'll hear me say that often. And now go back over my lives and hear how often I say it. That's how often I've lost my train of thought. I'm wheeling myself back in, and just saying that sentence helps me reset. I might have a few little notes on a Post-it note on my computer in front of my phone that are topical. I don't ever use a script, and I wanted to speak into that tonight too. If you go online and listen now to a lot of people's reels and lives, they sound AI. And they are. They sound AI because they are. Because AI sounds different to us. And so if you're reading a script word for word verbatim, like a movie star, you better be really bloody good at acting. That's all I'm saying, because people can feel into that authenticity. So you might be good at parroting, but you're missing on the connection point. You might be delivering really interesting facts and topics, which is great. But remember what we talked about is people forget what you said and they remembered how you made them feel. So I want you to just meditate with that, and always end a little bit early, because it's very easy for people to get bored. Leave them wanting more. So I'm going to reiterate, your voice is your frequency. Your tone matters more than volume. And slow speech means safety, a calm nervous system. How are we doing? We're getting close to wrapping up now. All right. Use a talking prompt. Instead of a paragraph, it's one line. The mistake most people make is, and you're the expert and you deliver it. And you might have that line taped up so that you stay on track, because it's really easy. What would rattle you when you're doing a live? And I want you to practice a live this week. So many of you are afraid of them, but this is where during the lockdown, I did lives every morning at 8 a.m. I would advertise on a little post the day before, see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. And I built a huge community. I've lost a lot of them now. So it's got me thinking that my community needed regular connection. They needed consistency. They needed a time frame. They wanted to know that they could sit and have their cup of coffee with me. Yeah. So these things matter. The mistake that most people make catches somebody's attention. We've got these talking prompts. I would just wake up each morning and think, what's a topic? And I would write a couple of little points like this and then just get blurping, and I'd talk for an hour. But what used to rattle me on my lives, I'm going to be honest with you here, and I hope she never sees it, would be if my mum jumped on. I would just lose my train of thought. Because you know me, I'd often be talking about the mystical or the woo or the weird, and mum would jump on and I would immediately feel, and it was my feelings and it wasn't her, it was, I own this, because I had a chat with her about it. I felt judged and I stopped talking authentically online. But, you know, one day I got to the point of thinking, I don't think my mum's judgmental. I think that I think my mum's judgmental. And therefore, because I'm thinking my mum's judgmental, I'm manifesting it. And it was slowing me down. You know, my mum's my biggest fan now, even with this crazy stuff I talk online. So I want you to just release all fear, because you might be manufacturing it. It might be your nervous system sabotaging you from being authentic, because that's what our nervous system's born to do. If you're doing something you've never done before, your nervous system's going to say to you, hey, are you sure this feels safe? We've never done this before. And you're going to make up all these scenarios. And one very easy one is, because you're feeling fear, is to pretend that somebody else is judging you. And we are so afraid of that. Yeah, it's tribal. We want to fit into the wolf pack. So if you can relate to that, please give me a comment in the chat, because I know that that is really real. Fantastic, fantastic. All right, speak your truth. And if there's somebody that you absolutely have proof that they're judgmental, you can block them or start a separate page. Yeah. And I think this is what's holding a lot of us back. But know this, that authenticity is at the top of the scale for frequency. Joy is just below it. So if you're having fun delivering this message and you're doing it authentically, your job is to repel those that aren't meant to hear. And that will be the first thing you do, is repel before you attract. Okay, here's a few other talk prompt, just examples, and you can make them your own. Freeze frame this when you watch the replay. What no one prepared me for was. Now, I could get on tomorrow and do a live about that. What no one, I'd start my talk with that. Hey, morning, everyone. Welcome to Echo Circle. Here's what no one prepared me for when I started to talk online. Boom. So much juice to add in there because everyone can relate. Did you know that there's a couple of fears that humans have? And one of the main ones is speaking publicly. Why? Because we're wired to be followers, not leaders. But you have to lead. You have to lead if you want to be successful in business. Here's a couple of others. Here's the reframe that changed everything. If this is you, listen carefully. You're giving a directive. It's authoritative. It's not wishy-washy. Now, watch some other people's lives now where they're making all the excuses or the ahs. No, you're turning up and you're delivering. If this is you, and use your body language, lean into the camera, and you're inviting them to come back. If you watch a public speaker on stage, they use their body. They tell you when to clap by elevating their hands there, and the crowd follows them. It's energetics. It's subliminal messaging, just like I've shown you where to put the product so that your brain sees it. And if you're not up to speed with that, go back and watch all of our trainings. This is where people sabotage themselves. You can talk into that because you've sabotaged yourself. After doing your next live, you're going to be able to talk into how difficult that was for you in Quantum Leap and attract your business builders. Because, hey, if we don't overcome this, if I can't in the first 3 seconds tell you how great this is and hook you into listening to me, I'm not going to have business builders. It's just not possible. Speak from it. From the heart, not reading it. That's my biggest tip today. Here's our last slide. Talking prompt to help the session land. Before I speak online, I always check. Write your list. Is my lighting shining in my eyes? Are there any distractions? Is my microphone clear? The wind isn't blowing. Do a test live if you like first and delete it. I often do that if I'm outside. People need to not have these distractions. Not so obsessed about what you look like. It's where am I sitting within the frame? Am I visible? Is there clarity? Is the sound there? Yeah. So less about what you look like, more about how you're turning up. The reason people freeze on camera is, tell me why. Jot it in the comments. If you have an inkling, you've done it before, I'm sure. What makes people freeze on camera? I freeze on camera all the time. And I gave you a great example when your mum logs on, or you got a little hater in the comments, like taking your distraction away. You need to like switch your mind off from that until you get comfortable at flow state, and then you're better able to interact. It is tricky to do more than one thing at once, but you have so got this, and it actually becomes really fun. Next question to break down before you do your next live. Confidence doesn't come from practice. It comes from what? Jot it in the comments tonight if you have your answer. For me, I would say confidence comes from what I have as lived experience. If not, I'm not an expert at teaching it yet. Thank you for those comments. Amazing. If you forget what you're saying, do this. The moment I stop trying to sound professional, this is a great one, because we try and turn up like somebody else. Yeah, comparison robs all joy and the frequency drops. And I want to remind you that the mission statement for our Melaleuca mission is to enhance the lives of those we touch by helping people reach their goals. And if your goal is just to have a smile on the people that you're interacting's face, then that is a win. That is a win in a lonely, disconnected society where you're paying it forward energetically, and you're also giving them the opportunity to connect with somebody that holds space, somebody that's like-minded. They're the people that we really desire to do business with. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me, and we'll stay on for comments.